right, thank you guys for waiting. We're gonna go ahead and load up the kiln. We'll show you the setup. So this is the kiln that you guys are currently seeing. And if you guys want, if you guys can, message and comment where you guys are currently located in the world. We are in Hawaii. So this is the kiln. It's a Paragon, pretty big. Here's the setup for streaming. And then we have the pieces that we are loading today. So we got all these bisque pieces here. And out here, we have a bunch more. On the top here, we have some glaze pieces we need to fire a little later when we have enough. And over here, a lot of thrown and hand-built pieces that we need to get loaded into the kiln so that the students can fire them and glaze them before the year ends. Let's go ahead and get this mounted. Apologies for the shakiness. So if you folks have any questions during the stream, don't be afraid to ask away. And first off, we're going to be loading pieces that are this tall or slightly shorter. So this is a 4-inch post. So I kind of treat loading the kiln like Tetris. It's a puzzle. Try to maximize the space and get as much as you can in there. And for those who are familiar with ceramics, for bisque firings, you can stack them. They can touch. For glaze firings, if they touch, they melt to each other. And these pieces are very fragile. If I were to drop it, it will just shatter. You put pieces upside down to maximize the space. Oop, that doesn't fit. Apologies if you see my head go in. Try not to get into the shot too much. So has anyone loaded a kiln before? Who's watching? Some bigger bowls coming in now. This one's pretty cool. Travel mug. Nice flower design. Yeah, nice pot. I gotta find a piece that fits right there. Looks like a mug can fit nicely. And then this right here, this is wax on the mug. If you ever made a mug before, you may notice it cracks by the handles. Wax helps prevent that. Can it fit? Ooh, maybe not. So this is where the puzzle comes in. Shift things to make it fit. Just too big. Gotta find another piece. Okay, we'll do this little baby cup instead. Pair it with another little bud vase. There we go, perfect. So first level is done. Now to start the next level. So we cover everything with a kiln shelf. Tap it. And what I do is I tap it so if it were to shake, the tapping would show that. So I tap it, doesn't shake, we're good to go. Next level. We'll continue with the same size blocks. And next round. Alright. Nice scallop vase with a little design on it. Sounds pretty cool. A little fish and a fish bowl. Got a hand loading the world, holding the world, I mean. Yeah, bowl with some abstract things on it. This is going to be really cool when the student fires it and paints it. Want to buy your first kiln? If you, yep. So Facebook Marketplace, you can take a look. Personally, if you have the money, I would look into buying new because you never know. A used kiln may not work due to the voltage, due to things going wrong with it. And if you buy it used and you set up at your home, it doesn't work, well, kind of out of luck. So if you have the money, purchasing new is my recommendation, or if you have a trusted friend and you know it works. But yeah, thank you for talking in the chat. This is my first time live streaming, so hopefully we get some more awesome conversations. Ooh, all right, we have a big boy here. What would you eat out of this thing? Very nice. So this one I'm going to flip upside down so I can get really tight. Downside with flipping pieces upside down is you are unable to stack things in it. So I'm adding another, this is a 1/2 inch kiln block or kiln posts, just so I can get a little taller pieces in there without it touching. Alright, we got some more bowls to get in there. You can see it's kind of short, so I can stack it, other pieces inside. I'll get that nice mug back in there. So you can see these little orb vases have been popular among my wheel throwers. Another popular thing this year has been these kind of pitchers or matcha bowls. Really cool texture on the outside. And a little more simple. So clean canvas for glazing. Another cool teacup. Love that foot. Very cool. Very Japanese style. Perfect little vases to go on your coffee table. So Sandra, I don't know if I meant to set it in the chat, but where are you located? You said you live remotely. Nice, another little cup. Now these ones are a little on the wetter side, so if you've ever put wet pieces in the kiln, they will blow up. So you have to usually have a long preheat, or you let it dry out completely. A good way to test is put it against your wrists. If you feel coldness, it's most likely because it's damp. So I still will load it, so I'm going to do a long preheat. This one's still a little wet too. So blowing up pieces in the kiln is part of the ceramic ritual. I have not met a potter yet who hasn't blown up a few pieces. Ooh, Scotland, okay. I have not too sure about things in Scotland, but if you have money saved up and you're looking into a kiln, by all means, it's such a cool thing to be able to fire at your own pace, your own firings, your own schedule. So it really opens up the door. Cute little penguin cup. Its little tail. And just a hand-built bowl. We are participating in an event called Empty Bowl. You may have heard of something similar. So the students are making bowls to donate to the event. Restaurants are making food to donate. All the proceeds will go to feeding the hungry. Very cool orb vase. Nice throw lines, good size, good weight, well balanced. So I'm gonna trade this out. This one's a little shorter, so that can go on another level. All right, we get a few more pieces. So now we gotta find homes for these guys. So nesting. So Sandra, on that statement, yes, so if you have air bubbles in your clay, that can cause it to explode. But it's not necessarily the air that's trapped in the clay, it's the moisture that's trapped in. So normally you want to poke a hole so the moisture can come out. So with trapped air, there's also trapped moisture, and moisture is what causes explosions. So we live in Hawaii here, and I normally let the pieces dry out at least a week before we start loading them in the kiln. Depending on if they're thicker or more fragile, we tend to let it dry out a little longer. All right, next level. Almost done with this kiln load. And the downside about living in Hawaii, the average humidity here is around 70%. During the day it drops down to 60, 50. But there's so much moisture in the air, sometimes pieces take forever to dry. And if it's rained within the day or past few days, even more moisture. So drying stuff in Hawaii can be a little frustrating. All right, next level we have the 5-inch posts. So actually I'm gonna split this level because I have a few taller pieces. And so the first 2 levels were all the same height. Split levels are good to get taller pieces on this side and then the 5-inch or shorter on this side. Yes, so your pieces you want dry, you can put them in front of a fan if you're a little worried about it. I have put wet pieces, not wet, but not super dry pieces in the kiln before. And as long as you do a long preheat, so most modern kilns now have preheat settings where they ramp up slowly and then they stop and hold a temperature at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Not too sure what that is in Celsius. And that is slightly below where water boils. And so that heat will drive all the moisture out of the clay. And then when you set the time to expire, then the normal kiln firing will ramp up. So depending on how wet your pieces are, you can have a longer preheat. If they're dry, you can have a shorter preheat. But preheats are always good. All right, next level, I had a student who made a bunch of these mugs. So he had a mug series, made about 6 of these, and these are really, I like this one because it has a kind of wood stump feel, and then the face is made out of mushrooms that are growing on it. So really cool, awesome series that this student has been making. And of course, wax on the handles to prevent it from cracking, and it looks pretty good. If you ever run out of ideas to make, you can make a little cake stand or a pedestal. All right, more vases. Yeah, of course, Sandra. And if you have any other questions, don't be afraid to ask. trying to find pieces to put under here so I can maximize the firing. It's always interesting to see what students make. Matcha or pieces with spouts have been very popular this year. Tuck that guy underneath. And it's always awesome to see their ideas. You have a little guy hiding in this cup. Beautiful bud vase. Another little bud vase. And this student made this piece with only about less than a month on the wheel. So very cool to see how students pick it up so quickly. Makes me jealous. A refire. So this one had a crack in it here. So we have a filler made by Amico and located in the States. And it's a paste that you add to the piece and then you fire it and it seals it in. So that fixes cracks. This one just feels really nice to hold. All right, and I gotta fill the rest of that space, and taller pieces will go here. You can tell which pieces were popular, what shapes were popular this year. Very cool octopus bowl, hand-built bowl with hand-built attachments. Every little sucker was attached, piece by piece. Some of these students have incredible patience. So the wax on the handles, will that just melt away in the kiln without a trace? It is the same when you put it on glazing. Yes, very similar. Now after the firing, so the wax you can see on this one, you will see a slight change in color on the body, but it does not affect the glaze application. And the reason why I like putting wax, it creates a little barrier of protection, whether that's from water, whether that's from air, and in this case it's the air, and it prevents that from drying out faster than everything else. So if you have really thin attachments like this octopus arm here, and you're worried about it cracking, you can always put wax on it, and that will coat it and kind of seal that clay so the moisture stays in there longer, and the chances of it cracking will be lower. So a nice little trick you can try, wax on handles, give it a shot, and tell me how it goes. So you can even brush it on connection points to prevent that area from cracking if you notice that your attachments are cracking. This was supposed to be a mug with a breakfast theme, so you have an egg, and they used a handle that was in the shape of a bacon. It looked so awesome, but sadly it broke off. So we decided just to smooth it out and then fire it into an egg cup. Okay, now I need to find a few more pieces to fit in these small pockets. got some really cute vases, little cups. So these were thrown off the mound. This was the student's first time trying it, and they did a great job. And this is the same student that made these mugs, and they wanted to go for the little ketchup holders that you usually see at fast food restaurants. So very cool. And then we have a lid on a jar, a little key here so that it can lock in and stay secure. Slide it in there. Perfect. All right, that level's done. And we'll cover. Let me find my taller pieces I need to load. So that we can get this done. This is one of the coolest pieces. It is a hand-built vase that the student then cut up and rearranged. Such a cool concept. And this is the second one the student made. He actually won a Scholastics Award for making his first one. So he wanted a second round to make it better. And I think he did a great job. All right, so it's a little short. We have about 3 inches. So I'm going to load a short one with all the flat pieces before I get these taller ones in. This big plate, we have about, I think it's about 10 inches. Plates were also very popular using the rolling pin technique. So I'll do a video on making plates soon. The downside is these plates take up so much space. You can stack things on it, but if you stack too much, you can crack the bottom piece. And no problem, Sandra. Keep asking away. It helps kind of flow through this loading a little more. And bubble plates were very popular because of that one social influencer. Sadly, this one cracked. I think that the hole may have not been big enough, but we'll fire, let the glaze seal it up. We have slab press mold plates, hand built. We can do a video on that later. Another cool shell, jewelry holder. All right, now let's get that last shelf for the taller pieces. You can see I put these a little too close, so not fully on the post, but still secure. Let's hope my eyeballing measurements worked out. And of course, I was off. This is over the height, so this might need to be adjusted. And that's the thing, if you don't measure, sometimes you have to take things out to make it fit. All right, so I'm gonna do a half shelf in here. So if you ever have broken kiln shelves, like this. I save them. I don't like throwing them away because you can make a half shelf. And that way you can do multiple levels. So now I can pull this out. And this tall vase, the really cool one, can have a home in the kiln firing. And thank you, Joseph, for chiming in. And thank you again for the audio fix in the past episode. I would have never known had audio issues, so thank you again. Little dino mug. And so for Sandra's question, if there are tiny cracks, can you still glaze them after? Yeah, so normally glazes tend to fill cracks like that. And if the glaze is opaque, meaning you can't see through it, there's chances of it making the crack disappear completely. Now, it is still technically food safe as long as the glaze has sealed it. But if it were my pieces, I don't feel comfortable selling them. So usually I keep them for myself. So I have pieces at home that I cracked and I use them daily and they're fine. You do run the risk of the glaze popping off and cracking into your food, so you just gotta be mindful of it. But for that specific piece that had crack, we can put a crack filler in it, and that can help it kind of seal over, bisque fire it, and then glaze fire, and then the crack hopefully wouldn't be seen because it's filled. Alright, now we're gonna get the taller pieces in. Nice little bear mug, or bear, I think this was a utensil holder. So spoons and spatulas and things like that in the kitchen. And another taller piece. So this student always threw with acrylic nails on. So something that's not easy to do. So she got really good at throwing using acrylic nails. Got some abstract hand-built vases. This one was squeezed by the student. You can see their indents. Very cool. Can it fit? Oh, just like a glove. Perfect. All right, 2 more layers. Almost done. And I teach at a high school, and so the recess bell just rang, so I gotta hurry up because I'm sure students want to come in and get started. So I might have to end the stream a little early so the students can come in and get some work done. For all you Kirby fans out there, forgot what character this was called, but you're making it into the kiln. All right, we got a shark bowl. Very cool. And then a Bulbasaur planter. And the good thing is I set these at the very top. So when I fire the kiln, I vent it so this doesn't close completely. And the wetter pieces I tend to keep at the top so they can drop even easier. Little bird cup. A few more pieces. Another little bud vase. Love the texture on this. And a collection of little sauce cups. So this can get distributed into the other bigger bowls. One more piece to fit there. We have this fish sauce, or lay it down. And this one, let's see if it can fit here. Perfect. All right, that's always so satisfying. All right, so that's it for now. I will finish this when I have more time. Thank you everyone for coming out to watch the live stream of the first kiln loading. And of course I can't talk because I'm live and I'm nervous, but thank you for watching. I may do a live stream of trimming later on this afternoon, around maybe about 5-6 hours. So thank you again, and hopefully see you in the next live stream.